Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium, and you have found yourself here on a Wednesday, or at least it's a Wednesday right now where I'm filming this, but it could be any day of the week that you're watching this, but you are indeed here for Way Out Wednesdays, which is my series that I'm doing where each Wednesday, every week, I tackle a new topic, a new metaphysical topic. Now, as you saw with the intro, my dogs are now scarred for life. And if I were you, I would stock tip, buy stock in aluminum foil because I seem to be using a lot of it. God bless Ellie's heart. She also was in the video where I was in the chair and I was coming across this way. If you go back and watch that intro, she is right here, look, backing up with me, like, what in the heck is going on with this woman, right? I had to, it was too funny. I couldn't not include them in the intro since I scared the living daylights out of them. Even Zoe at the end was like, no, she's crazy, run. So listen, today we're going to talk about past lives, just to make it make sense for you, because I know you're like, make it make sense. Make Susan make sense. Past lives, people. I had a past life as a monk. I know that probably didn't translate as a monk, but I was a monk. Now, let me explain to you why knowing about your past lives is helpful to you, because everything I do, or at least I really try to make this possibility, I try to make things helpful to you in your current life. Here's why this is important. Our past lives that we've lived, whether here or on a different planet, actually impact our lives, our current living human lives. And here is how. For instance, me as a monk, I had a past life reading. And the past life person that was doing the reading, she said, I bet that your hand hurts. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't know you were psychic. She's like, I'm not, I'm reading your past life. I'm like, what's that got to do with my past life? She said, well, you had a past life as a monk and you were on an island, which is interesting because I have lived on islands in my life, in my current life, which is another hallmark of past lives. But she said, in this life, you were on this island and you were very much alone most of the time, and all you did from sun up until sundown was draw and write. So if you recall you may not know this, but some books, some of the first books had intricate borders that were drawn, hand drawn around the actual writing. So apparently, as this monk, I spent 12, 14 hours a day doing nothing but writing and drawing. And at this time in my life, so at this time in my physical human life, 50, whatever I am, I don't know, 7, I don't know. Anyway, at this time in my life as a monk, I had disfigured hand from writing, disfigured knuckles, arthritis. And indeed, my hand had been killing me for the past several months. And I couldn't figure it out because I don't write. I don't do anything with my hands. But yet my hand felt like I was getting arthritis in it. My knuckles hurt. I was having to take aspirin sometimes. It was so painful. And she said to me, oh, well, you can just tell yourself that this was from a past life and you don't need to experience that anymore. It's not relevant to your current life. So I did. I said, get rid of this. It's not relevant to my current life. Went away. It went away. How many of us are walking around humans experiencing, let me turn that down, experiencing some kind of ailment that could potentially, we're experiencing it simply because we experienced it in a past life. That could be interesting, right? That could be interesting to know. That could be helpful to know. Oftentimes, and this is another weird thing about past lives, you may have a birthmark. And then you may have a past life reading and find out that that birthmark is exactly where you had an injury or a wound in a past life. The birthmark in this physical life, in this physical body, matches the exact same location of the wound that you got in a past life. Right? So that energy has bled over into this life. And that's why it's important to know about your past lives, because that energy from your past life very much colors or filters, creates, if you imagine using a filter on your phone or a filter on Instagram or TikTok or something like that, it's the same thing. It's not real. It's not reality. But because we're viewing our lives through the filter of our past life experience, it feels real to us. And it affects us. When it feels real to us, we make decisions based on that data that feels real to us, and in reality has no bearing in your current life whatsoever. So, some other ways that a past life can show up big in your current life is you may have a phobia. You may be deathly afraid of spiders or deathly afraid of sharks, even though you grew up in the desert and have never ever been to the ocean. Why would you be terrified of sharks? Why would you be terrified of spiders if you've never even seen one? Or if you've only seen one very, very rarely, and it's never, you don't have any memory of a reason why you should have this phobia. It's not like you had an experience that then colored your idea of that particular thing. These things are from past lives. You may be deathly afraid of boats for no reason, never been on a boat. A lot of people are afraid of flying. These things are often connected to past life issues that can be resolved by simply acknowledging this is something I experienced in a past life and it has no bearing in my current life and I wish to release it. Many times that can release the energy. Some people visit places and feel an immense connection, an immense emotional or energetic connection to that place. And perhaps this has happened to you. Maybe you've visited a place in the United States or a place in the world and just felt energetically overwhelmed. Maybe in a good way, maybe in a bad way. Some people show up to a historical marker and cry and have no idea why are they crying or feel immense sadness or even anger or maybe joy. Some people show up to countries that they've always had a keen interest in visiting, say Greece. You've had a keen interest your whole life. You couldn't explain it, but there was something about Greece that just captured your imagination, captured your heart. You were very, very interested in it. You finally get the chance to visit and you walk up to one of those old ancient buildings and you put your hand on the wall and you have an experience. You may have an experience of visions. You may see things. You may feel things. You may know things. You may know, I've been here before. And what happens is we can't tell anybody that because we're usually with people that don't have those experiences. So we just think we're nuts and we keep it to ourselves. But the truth of the matter is you just connected to a past life. So you can look at some hobbies that you like to do in this life. They may have some bearing in something you really enjoyed in a past life. Now, past lives can also be very helpful in the sense that they can help you understand a lesson that you've been trying to learn, that maybe you've been kind of dragging this lesson with you from life to life because for whatever reason you weren't able to get it, understand it, overcome it, accept it, whatever it is. Now, for me, I had a lesson around, I actually had a past life as an alien. You guys have been waiting for it to be way out Wednesday. Well, it's way out now, isn't it? You know, I've really covered a lot of the basics, in my opinion, and now we're going to get into the weeds of the Way Out Wednesdays. Yes, I had a past life as an alien. Now, if you've watched my video, my Way Out Wednesday video on starseeds, you will know that I have only had 4 incarnations here on this planet and in this solar system. Now, the reason I know that is because I got an Akashic Records reading, which is a little different than a past life reading. The Akashic Records reader pulls the book of all of your incarnations. Everything you ever wanted to know about Susan is in this book. And they pull that down and you ask them questions and they tell you about yourself. And that's another really good reading to get. Now, I'm not sure if 4 is really the number, but I would say 4 to 8, very few. So of course, when I have a past life regression, some of my lives are not going to be human, right? And so in this past life, I'm an alien. Now, I don't look like an alien in this past life. I don't look like the typical alien that you would see with the great big eyes and, whatever. That's not how I look. And I think it's really interesting because growing up, of course, Star Trek was big, but I didn't watch it. For some reason, I just didn't watch it that much. I never became a Trekkie. But in my past life experience, it was like Star Trek. That's what it looked like. And it looked like there were entities, there were aliens, if you will, star beings, whatever you want to call them. And they were all kinds. If you recall the famous Star Trek, I think there's one version of it. Is it the bar scene where everybody is just so different, right? That's what I saw. When I was looking at all my fellow aliens on this ship, they all looked very different. Every kind of thing you can imagine, from half animal to all kinds of things, all kinds of shapes and colors. And they were all, that's who they were. It was normal, right? So in that past life, I was learning a lesson. And it turns out I'm learning the same lesson right now, today, in this life. No kidding. Now, I think that I'm not sure that I don't want to ask right now, I don't think, but I'm not sure that life, that past life as an alien I'm not sure if it was my last life before this. So, because I'm thinking linearly, right? I'm thinking, well, of course, that was the one right before this life, but I'm not sure that it was. I don't think the lessons are linear. I think that you have a buffet of lessons and you say, well, in the last life, I did these 3. In this life, let me do these 3, these other 3. So you might switch back and forth between the lessons to learn them. But having a past life regression, and I don't do them, can help you understand who you were in these past lives. And it can also help you understand why you are the way you are today, right? That's why I had the hand, why I had the pain in my hand. And what's really interesting too, I didn't grow up religious. Okay. I'm a Christian, but I didn't grow up with church. I didn't grow up with any religion whatsoever. And yet a lot of kind of big name psychics see me as very religious, very Christian, having had very strong connections to Christianity and to organized religion, which always I never understood. How can you see that in my energy? Because it's not in my energy. It's in my past life energy, my past life as a monk. That energy is prevalent in my current life, even if I don't know it. Those psychics were able to pick up on that energy. So you can find out what lessons you're working on, and you can have a better chance of really learning that lesson and closing out that lesson so you don't drag it into the next life, right? Now, what's fascinating to me, and this is really fascinating, and I haven't really thought much about it, but the spirit guides are telling me to talk about it, so who knows what they're going to say. What's fascinating is that we often talk in the metaphysical community. We often talk about, oh my gosh, I get along so well with you. I bet we had a past life together, right? We just make these assumptions, of course we must have had a past life together because we get each other, right? And hey, that might be possible. That really might be possible. But it's also possible that that person that you don't get along with, whether it's a sibling or a coworker or a neighbor or a brother-in-law or sister-in-law, it's also possible that that person you had a past life with. And that animosity that was there between you and them during that past life is still here during this past life, during this current life. Again, it's a filter. It filters this life. You may know someone that you just don't like, and it's always puzzled you as to why you don't like them. Or conversely, I don't know why this person doesn't like me. I've never done anything to them. They just don't like me. I don't get it. I'm a nice person. Well, perhaps you had a past life with them and you weren't such a nice person in that last life that you had with them. It's possible. And you can continue the same pattern. So let's say you had a past life with somebody, and in that past life, you let them down or they let you down. And this could mean anything. I mean, it could mean any number of things in any number of ways, but let's just say the basic emotion is you got let down or they got let down. Fast forward to this life, here you are. Guess what is potentially going to happen? The same thing. You're going to follow the flavor of the energy. You're going to follow the energy and let them down, or they're going to let you down because they're allowing that past life energy to have too much of an influence upon their current life. So you can be a bit more discerning and step back and say, why do I feel this way about this person? Or why does this person treat me like this or constantly let me down? You can go into a meditation and ask, have I had a past life with this person? Is this person just simply following the energy that isn't even present anymore, but seems to have spilled over into this life? And if yes, and if the answer is yes, well, unfortunately, right now we can't go to them and say, "Hey, you big dummy, you're just acting out our past life. We're cool in this life. Let it go." They're not probably going to understand that very well, right? But what you can do is at least understand it's got nothing to do with you. And then what you might have to do is put some space between you and that person, because that person is not fully aware of why they're acting the way they are. But when it comes to you, this is where the power is, right? Right here. So if you have people that you're not sure, why do I act that way around them? I'm not this kind of person, yet when this person's around me, I tend to act a certain kind of way. You can really look into that and see if perhaps you had a past life with them, and this is coloring your opinion of them. And this is really, really, really possible. People can act out their past life over and over and over again when they shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't be allowing that energy to influence their physical life in this lifetime. We have to stand in our power of who we are, what our identity is today, and make sure that we separate from that past life. And you can do that by asking the questions. Or you can get a regression, a past life regression, and you can ask. Actually, you can ask in an Akashic Records reading. These are two different readings, two different kind of people. Past life, put you in a hypnosis or a deep meditation and walk you back through the past lives that come up first. And you can do multiple regressions at different times because you might have had hundreds or thousands of lives. So they might ask you, what's the most important past life for you to know about now? And that would be the one that comes forward. Now, with Akashic Records readings, remember, Akashic Records is the book of all of our incarnations, the book of us, the book of our soul. You can get an Akashic Records reading and you can say, I want to know what the relationship is between me and my spouse, me and my child, me, my mom, my sister, whoever. And they can pull the Akashic Record book down and they could take a look and say, well, what happened was in this past life, your husband was your sister and you did her wrong. And so now he's doing you wrong in this life to get back at you for that. It sounds crazy. It sounds like Shakespeare, does it not? It sounds crazy. Get a reading, you'll realize it's not crazy. And again, I don't do either of these types of readings. You can find them very easily online. But this is helpful. This is meant to be helpful. These are tools for you to use in this life so that you can learn the lessons or avoid the people that are trapped in some past life loop. Or for yourself to not get caught up in the past life influence and therefore have a clean break, learn your lesson. Other than that, go forward and create a new, clear, clean lifetime in this lifetime with love and compassion for everyone. It'll make your next reincarnation much, much better. And, or perhaps, a lot of people always ask me, do I have to come back? It's up to you when you get over there. It's up to you. But usually when we get over there, we want to grow our soul. We want our soul to grow. So we usually say, yeah, I want to go back. But if you do the work in this lifetime, much less likely that you have to come back to Earth. So I just want to tell you a little bit about a past life regression or getting a past life reading, because it's really important for you to understand that if you get a regression, you are going to experience that past life. So if you start to experience a past life that had a trauma or a traumatic ending, you're going to likely be upset. You're likely going to be scared or angry, or who knows what you may be feeling. So you want to make sure that you do this kind of session with a professional who can help you disengage from that if you don't want to experience it. Or you can perhaps make the intention that I don't wish to experience any past lives that are traumatic. So you can just state that from the outset and just skip over that. I mean, who really needs to experience that? You may also wish to state the intention that I wish to experience a past life that has a lesson in it that I'm trying to learn in this life. Okay, so you can make some intentions before you do your regression or your appointment, and you can tell the person you're working with, this is what I want to know, this is what I want to experience. It's good to have this knowledge in advance. People sometimes just go online to Google, to YouTube, and look up past life regression, and there's many meditations that you can listen to on YouTube, and sometimes even have a pretty decent past life regression just sitting at home listening to one on YouTube. But you need to be careful, because if it is a traumatic experience, you don't have someone sitting there with you that can bring you out of it. Okay, so I want you to use caution with that. If you do that, I want you to state that intention that I'm only here to experience happiness and peace and love. End of story. Okay. Now, when it comes to Akashic Records readings, that is something that typically, I say typically because you can find anything on YouTube. You could find an Akashic Records meditation on YouTube. I think your mileage may vary. It might work, it might not work, but if you have an extra couple of dollars, it's worth it to have a professional do these things for you. If you're going to do them on your own through some sort of YouTube meditation, then just be aware that you could have some different types of experiences, right? With Akashic Records, you may or may not really be able to tap into the real Akashic Records because, well, they're kind of sacred. They're not there for, it's not McDonald's. You just don't drive up and order your Akashic Records. I'll take meal number 6. It just doesn't work like that, right? Especially with the Akashic Records. So I will put a couple of people in the description to recommend you to. They don't know that I'm doing this. They don't know that I'm recommending them. I don't have any connection to them. I really suggest that you use your own intuition and find the people that resonate with you the best. Okay. So listen, I hope you've enjoyed this Way Out Wednesday, and I hope you'll be happy to leave me a comment below. Let me know what your experiences are. I tell you, our comments are the best. Honestly, you can learn so much from the comments of these videos, just reading people's experiences. So if you've had past lives read, let us know. Let us know in the comments what experience you had and how perhaps that's a kind of flavoring your current physical life. Okay. Thanks a lot. Hope to see you next Wednesday. Take really good care, and we'll talk soon.